Hi everyone, my name is Trevor Fall, and for those of you that don't know me, I've taught English for more than 20 years and exam prep for about 16, 17 years. My focus has been with CAN test, TOEFL, and IELTS in the last few years with CELPIP. So I have a question that I'm frequently asked, and I'm just going to share the screen here. So often students ask me, how should I arrange my study schedule? And I was sent this study schedule recently. And when I'm looking through the information, they asked, is this realistic over the next month? Is this how to best schedule their time? So when I'm looking through, I have the different days, and then I see that they're going to spend half an hour a day on vocabulary. They have some study materials and websites and webinars. There's some that I've recommended, some that they're finding on their own, and then practice writing. And then every second day, they want to take a full practice test. And my comments with that are, this is okay. And this is actually the way most students are studying. But after helping hundreds of students with their exam prep and thousands of students with their academic English getting ready for university, there's a faster, more focused way. And I always illustrate it like a sport. So if you think of football or basketball, and when you're looking at the skill, the coach doesn't have you go and play complete games every day or every second day. In fact, they don't even do 50-50, which you could argue here is 50% of the time studying some materials and looking at information and then doing a whole game every second day. What the coach does is 5 or 6, 7 days a week, say about 80% of the time, you're breaking everything down into specific skills. You're looking at individual parts. And so if you look at some of my videos, or if you go to some of the IELTS or CELPIP or CAN test, TOEFL teachers, instructors, you'll see that they're often breaking down each subject area into skills. And then those skills are practiced and worked on and perfected, and then you do a game. So what I find useful is, if I think of basketball, I have to dribble the ball, I have to pass the ball, I have to shoot the ball. All of those take different positions in my body and my practice and how I do that. With reading, for example, I have skimming and scanning, I have logical thinking, I have transition signals, positive, negative adjectives or phrases, understanding main idea. I have different question types, so fill in the blank, true, false, not given, multiple choice. There's lots of different pieces. So when I'm doing a complete exam over and over every couple of days, I'm trying to do all of those pieces every time. And there's no way that you're going to be able to, you'll see improvements, but as I said earlier, that's a slower process. So what I recommend, and when I'm looking at this person, the first 2 weeks at least, maybe even into the third week, replace the full practice test on all of these days and half of the vocabulary. So there's about, let's just say there's 12, 14 hours there, at least half of those hours, and uh, 2/3 of the practice test. So do one practice test each week, but the other times, the other two practice tests, instead of those 3.5 hours each time, those 7 hours, focus on specific strategies and skills. And if you look at some of my videos, I've gone into detail, for example, with reading, look at the different strategies and then look at different question types. And I've given websites and links in those areas. So when a student comes and says, is this what I recommend? No, it is a path. It's what most students do, but it's not the fastest path. It's better that you, like I said, take out the first couple of weeks, take out 3/4 of that vocabulary and full practice test time, and use that to practice specific strategies. And then replace some of that as you get closer to the test, the last 10 days, then maybe do a practice test every second day. Um, I'll just show you one other document. So I'm going to stop screen sharing that and show you a suggested weekly schedule that I made up about 5 years ago, I believe, for my students. This is assuming 2 hours a day. You notice with the one that you saw was 4 hours a day. So this you could increase or decrease depending on what you want. And that's what I talk about here. You know, take away time, add time, depending on your strengths and weaknesses. You can have any order through this, but what I would, here's one option. So for example, on the first day, spend time on reading, but you're breaking it down into strategies. So skimming and scanning, reading faster, and then 2 or 3 passages of the same question type. So for example, true, false, not given, and then look at different passages with those types of answers. In listening, go to some of the listening websites, which I list further down, and then work through. Today we had an excellent question and answer session. You can find it under units in our Facebook group, Canadian English Conversation and Exam Prep. And in that question and answer time, I talked about in listening with using some resources to be gaining, going level by level to increase your listening with specific, like with find passages or go to the websites I've recommended where there's listening exercises with questions and answers rather than just listening to YouTube or movies or TV. That's, again, nothing wrong with that, but that's a very slow path because of everything you need to learn. For the exam, that's good for the overall English, but for the exam, you want focused time because you're probably like me, you don't have a lot of time every day with all your responsibilities. And then in speaking here, as you see, you know, record answers, read out your answers out loud, talk through it, read through them, look at yourself in a mirror, use several different strategies in order to be practicing. Next day, work again with some of the reading and then work on some writing. But even here, you're not just writing a task 1, you're breaking the writing process into parts. I teach brainstorm, outline, write, and rewrite. So you see here, you can brainstorm and write about summarizing task 1 and then writing several different essay topics and making outlines. Speaking, and here I have students, rather than jump to new material, I have you going through the questions that you already answered and talked about, get confidence in those. So you're getting deeper rather than just going from area to area. Again, some of these, you know, some of this becomes repetitive, but you'll notice that I've broken it down into sections. You're alternating different days, and then I've said on Friday. For some of you, that might be on Saturday or Sunday. It depends on your schedule, but during the week, just do 1 complete exam each week while you're practice on these strategies for that. And then you can see in this document, I have different websites and links to, for example, with listening, and I break it down into the different areas where there's complete tests, but also where there's exercises in specific areas to help. Reading websites, and then specific reading areas, testing your reading speeds, writing websites, etc. And then some of the speaking. So for those of you that have been asking, what's the best use of my time? There is no wrong schedule, but as you can see, my experience and what's helped my students learn the fastest is practicing specific strategies and exercises, then applying it to the exam, and then go back over 4 or 5 days, practice specific strategies, and then go back and try the exam. If you found this helpful, you can drop some comments below. And if you want some of these resources, like the suggested weekly schedule, the links, etc., then ask that. I can send that to you. Ask me for that in the comments. Have a great study day.